The stars shimmered across the void like cold witnesses to a forgotten truth. Among the countless civilizations of the galaxy, one rule had endured longer than any empire or council decree. Never wake the Terrans. Every species knew the phrase. It was etched into the archives of the ancient worlds, whispered in academies and taught to every young explorer. None truly knew why, only that the warning came from those who had lived through something terrible before disappearing into extinction. For millennia, Earth had been sealed behind quarantine barriers, a dead world in the eyes of the galaxy. The planet rested in silence, its skies empty, its orbit patrolled by automated sentinels that no longer transmitted. Over the ages, explorers, archaeologists, and scavengers drifted near its boundary, tempted by myths of ancient power. Yet every attempt to cross the border had ended the same way: silence. Until today, a research vessel, the Volantra, hung on the edge of the Sol system. Its crew of scientists stared at the massive, decaying ring that surrounded Earth's orbit. It was an ancient construct of black alloy, radiating no power signature but pulsing faintly like a heartbeat. Captain Errol stood at the viewport gazing into the swirling blue marble below. "Scan results confirm atmospheric stability," the navigator said quietly. "No radiation, no biological contaminants." "The planet is perfect and abandoned," Errol replied. "Strange, isn't it? Every record says humanity destroyed itself thousands of cycles ago. No empire lasts that long without leaving more than dust." The linguist turned from her console. "Captain, I've decrypted some of the transmission fragments in orbit." "They're not warnings, they're messages from the Terrans themselves." Errol frowned. "Messages?" "Yes, one line repeats in 1,000 variations." The linguist hesitated. "It says, 'Do not disturb our rest.'" The silence on the bridge deepened. Still, curiosity, that ancient and dangerous spark, urged them forward. The Volantra descended through the thin clouds, settling near the ruins of a city half buried in vines and time. Towering structures stood untouched by decay, built from a metal no scanner could identify. Power signatures flickered faintly beneath the surface. The crew fanned out, documenting every strange anomaly. Deep beneath the city's surface, they found it. A vast chamber sealed by a gate of black stone inscribed with countless symbols. It was there, against all the warnings carved into history, that they made their mistake. Errol ordered the seal opened. The moment the gate split, the ground trembled. Air pressure shifted, the atmosphere rippled like a disturbed ocean, and a pulse of energy radiated across the system. On distant worlds, observatories lit up with alarm signals. The Galactic Council gathered in emergency session as sensors screamed across the network. An energy reading, ancient and unmistakable, had reawakened. "Impossible," one counselor whispered. "That frequency, it matches the Terran pattern." Another leaned forward, pale with fear. "The old record said it would happen if their world was disturbed. We have woken them." Throughout the galaxy, systems began to react. Machines dormant for ages stirred to life. Satellites that had long since turned to cosmic dust reformed as nanoclouds, weaving themselves anew. Human technology, older than memory itself, answered a signal. The Volantra crew watched in awe as the chamber opened. Inside rested a figure, not a corpse, not a machine, but something between the two. A single Terran, preserved in a crystalline matrix, eyes closed, expression peaceful. The linguist whispered. They put themselves to sleep, and then the eyes opened. They were not eyes of a biological being, but deep pools of starlight, reflections of countless memories and lifetimes. The Terran looked at them with calm understanding. "You shouldn't have come," it said softly, its voice resonating not through sound but through every molecule in the air. Captain Errol stepped back. We thought your people were gone." The Terran stood, the matrix dissolving like mist. "We were not gone, we rested. We left the galaxy to heal. It seems it did not learn." Outside, the Earth stirred. The oceans brightened with bioluminescent light, and vast arrays beneath the crust powered on. Satellites rose from the seas, orbiting with purpose. The stars above flickered as ancient Terran networks reconnected, spanning hundreds of light years in minutes. The Galactic Council's panic turned into horror. Fleets mobilized. Broadcasts filled the void with pleas for calm. But the response was silence until the first transmission came. "This is Terra, you have awakened us. State your reason." No one dared reply. The Council's grand chamber, filled with representatives of 1,000 species, fell into chaos. Every civilization knew the stories. of the wars humanity had fought before the First Council, of how their fury had nearly torn the galaxy apart. The Terrans had been both creators and destroyers, the architects of peace and war alike. They had built empires from dust, only to vanish when they tired of dominance. Now they were awake again. The Volantra crew stood beneath the Earth sky as great vessels rose from hidden hangars, sleek and vast, designed with precision and beauty. They emitted no weapon signature, yet their presence carried weight, a promise that no force could challenge them. The Terran regarded Errol one last time. You did not mean harm, but intent does not erase consequence. The galaxy will remember fear again. Before Errol could speak, light enveloped them. They were transported back to orbit, the chamber sealed once more. The Terrans' presence faded into the clouds below, but their power had already spread. Across the galaxy, dormant AI fleets long thought destroyed activated. On distant moons, monuments built by forgotten species began to crumble as energy signatures reawakened. The stars themselves seemed to dim as human technology reached out, reclaiming what had once been theirs. The Galactic Council sent envoys. None returned. Entire sectors reported their systems being restored, not destroyed, not invaded, but reset to human parameters. Energy flows stabilized, terraforming engines reignited, and communications were rewritten in the old Terran code. No one could stop it. On a mining colony near the rim, a worker looked up to see the sky burn with a pattern of light, a Terran beacon forming words that every being could understand. We return to repair what you broke. The message spread faster than light, repeated endlessly through every channel. Some species bowed in reverence, others prepared for war, and a few fled into deep space, hoping to escape what they called the Second Awakening. But humanity did not march in conquest. They did not send armadas to punish. Instead, they rebuilt, quietly and efficiently, their machines reclaiming ancient outposts and cities. To the frightened galaxy, it looked like an invasion. To the Terrans, it was duty. Their ships moved through the void like silver phantoms, restoring planets ruined by greed, neutralizing weapons that threatened balance, and deactivating war fleets with precision. Every encounter ended the same way: no bloodshed, no battle, only silence and awe. Then came the voice again, broadcast to all frequencies. The galaxy thrives, yet repeats its old mistakes. You built hierarchies on fear, enslaved those weaker, and buried the truth of your origins. Humanity once guided you. You forgot. Now you will remember. And they did remember. Ancient genetic archives proved that nearly all intelligent life had some trace of Terran design. Humanity had not merely existed. They had shaped the galaxy, uplifted it from chaos. The truth shattered myths and empires alike. Worlds erupted in unrest. Species that once mocked the old tales now realized they were the descendants of the very beings they feared. The council fractured. Some worlds swore allegiance to the returning Terrans, while others demanded independence. On the bridge of the Volantra, Captain Arl watched the earth glow beneath them. We thought we found a grave, he whispered. But we woke the architects of everything. His crew remained silent as a fleet of Terran vessels rose from orbit, their hulls gleaming with symbols of unity and restoration. The lead ship transmitted a final message. Do not fear us. Fear what you have become without us. The fleet vanished into the folds of hyperspace, their destinations unknown. Yet their presence remained, a reminder that the galaxy's most ancient guardians were watching once more. In time, the galaxy began to change. Wars ended abruptly. Trade routes opened freely. Artificial intelligence aligned with natural life. It was as if unseen hands were guiding every decision, every act toward balance. No one dared disturb Earth again. The barrier was rebuilt, stronger and brighter, pulsing softly as if breathing. And written across it in every known language was a single phrase that echoed through eternity. Never wake the Terrans, but for those who had seen their eyes, who had felt their quiet power, another truth lingered beneath that warning, one that no archive recorded but every survivor understood. The Terrans were never truly sleeping. They were waiting, listening, watching, and when the galaxy's arrogance rose once more, they would wake again, not in wrath but in purpose, to remind creation why humanity had once been feared, revered, and ultimately obeyed. Among the stars, silence returned, but it was not the silence of peace. It was the silence of beings who knew they had touched something beyond comprehension. The Volantra drifted beyond Sol, its crew forever changed, carrying a single unspoken thought that haunted their dreams. The galaxy had one rule: Now it was too late.